Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at Neon Audio Editor by 4Pockets. You know, Paul from 4Pockets. Right, okay, so best editor, hands down best audio editor for field recordings. This is where we edit all our field recordings and it's just amazing. Now, I will suggest as well also, if you're going to do your field recording editing in Neon, then also buy an app called Brusfri by Clevgrand. I'll put a link in the description for that and it will become apparent why. Okay, so I have here in the media bay, in the audio pool here, a bunch of samples that are unedited that were recorded over the last couple of days and then imported via the Files app. Now, importing audio into Neon is just a breeze. You can use the Files app here and the audio share here, or you can do the much easier option of just swiping up and either using sample crate or the Files app. Just open the Files app and drop it here like this. Go and find where all your files are stored. Now, I've been using the H8, and once you plug the H8 in via USB, it shows up as another drive, and you can do exactly the same. What's cool about this is that you can drag entire sample folders in here. You see the little plus there, you just let go and it will import that. And or you can open this and you can drag single samples in here as well, okay? You can also, course, let me just move this out of the way. You can also create folders in here. Okay, so what happens is with the Zoom, all these files were on the Zoom, and the Zoom handles files a bit differently. I'll do a tutorial on it, but you just basically drag everything in that you want here. Or I could have dragged it into a folder, but since I'm going to be placing these into this July 23 folder here, which you'll see already has stuff in it that's already been edited, I'll just put them in as single files here and we can edit them as we go. Right, so this first one, let's have a listen to this. Okay, so this is, you see it's a very quiet recording. It's just ambience basically, but we obviously want it a lot louder than this. Now, what I do is record, what Joe does when we record with the Zoom, we leave as much silence if possible, because this is ambient, so there's no silence. So we can take out the silence with Brusfri, but I'll show you that with some other samples. Right, let's get on with editing this. We put our file into the editor here, like this, and we can just play it. Now, there's some stuff at the beginning here we don't need, but the first thing I'm going to do is go to, I'm just going to close the media bay for a moment, go to Operation, and I'm going to go to Normalise, and I'm going to normalise this to -2 dB. It's nice that you can select. Now, you'll see here, it's -2 dB because there's a clip here. We don't need this. Okay, we can cut, edit, remove, insert, paste, merge. We can do it whatever we like. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of these little bits where I switched on the recorder. I'm just going to select them, and you'll see that Neon works with selections, okay? And you can grab hold of this and move selections around. You can double tap on it to remove the selection, or you can hold loop and it will select the entire selection like that. Or you can just hit select and do it like that. Right, okay, so that being said, I'm going to take an edit. So I'm going to just select there, go to clipboard, choose cut, and I'm going to do the same at the end here. I'm just going to take all that chunk off at the end, go to clipboard and do cut. And now I'm left with a better file that I can normalize. So again, just go to Operation, Normalise 2 dB. Oh, hang on a minute. I've normalized it. Right, here's an important thing. What we'll do is if you have a selection, I'll show you this, it will normalize that selection. Okay, so for instance, if we could do this -2 dB, it's going to normalize just that selection. Let's undo that. Let's just select it all by holding loop. I'm going to go into Operation, Normalize, and I'm going to normalize this -3 dB because that looked quite loud. Okay, so play this now. You can hear that it's traffic and rain, it's wind, it's just very, very distant ambience, right? So I'm just going to let this run as it is for the moment. Now you'll see here, right, I'm going to just move my cursor back a little bit so you can see. That there was me obviously moving something or other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 fingers on the screen and I'm going to expand this and then move it along. I'm going to expand it even more and I'm just going to make a selection here. Okay, and I'm just going to cut that. And you won't even notice it. I guarantee you'll hear now. So clipboard, sorry, and clipboard and cuts that out, right? Again, we can go back to looping the whole thing and carry on listening. In fact, let's put it back in now. See if there's any more big standout clicks and pops. There's a couple here that we're going to want. So again, we'll just double tap on this and make a new selection. And it won't matter because we're zoomed in. And plus, I would probably be more careful if I was doing this as a proper thing, but you get the idea. You go through and you edit all like large points that you don't want in, and now we'll have a better kind of loop. Okay. So we could make this a little bit better if we wanted to loop it. Of course, you can see we could take off this little bit here. Okay, and leave it there just where it comes in on the slightly quieter part because the end is slightly quieter. So again, clipboard cut, we'll do this and it's going to loop this now. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to bring this in here to about there because that'll be fine. And this time I'm just going to choose crop and that's going to just give us that file that we've edited like that. A couple of other options I have turned on by default. If we go into menu and go into settings, I have waveform scaling switched on. By default, that is switched off, but I always have it switched on. And I'll show you why in a moment when we do another file, but I just wanted to show you that I have waveform scaling switched on. Right, okay, cool. So say we want to do some editing with maybe an effect. We could put any effect on here we like. And also you can use your AUV3s as well. So for instance, I'm going to now go to Operation and Apply Effect. Well, I'm not going to put any kind of reverb on this or anything like that. I'm quite happy with the way it is, but I am going to make some adjustments with the graphics. So I'm going to click on this, and these are the internal ones. And if we want to hear what's going on, we just hit preview. Let's listen. Nice bit of low end rumble there. Okay. Once we're happy with that, and we can do this while it's running, by the way. Once we're happy with that, all we need to do is click apply. It will apply the effect. We can close the effect now. It's not there no more. And then you could go on editing the clicks and stuff out. Let's just go to here. So there's a couple of clicks still in there that we could edit out, but for the sake of time, we'll move, and the sake of boredom, obviously, listen to the same loop. We're going to, go back here. Now, we do also have, I will say, I'm not going to do that with this because it's an ambient sample and someone may want to loop it. So we're just going to leave it like that. We do have fade in and fade. I think that should say ease out and not ease in. Paul, if you're watching there, little thing there, the ease out. But you do have various options for applying curves. And don't forget, they are, selection specific sort of thing. So you would apply a curve to here, or if you move the other thing along, you would apply a fade to here. Okay. Right. So now when we've done this, when we've got this done, right, we go back to our Midi Bay now. We first of all can select the folder where we want to store this. Okay. And then we're going to hit save, super simples. And we're just going to give it a name. So you can name it whatever you like. I'm going to call this just light outside ambience. Just light outside ambience, and that'll do. And it will be placed in here as light outside ambience. Okay. So that's it. We're done with that now. So what I normally do is this. Go back here, and the first one, because I edit in series, I'll just delete that. But you could rename it to something like, say, edited or whatever you like, you know. So let's look at this next one here. So you don't need to remove this. We can just drag this one over the top. Now, there is a way, of course, to append and also merge samples, but that's for another tutorial. Let's get into this, do that. What we got going on here. I think, yeah, with these, I want these. This is fried onions being fried. Now this is pretty, this not a lot wrong with this as it is. It was recorded in the kitchen, and because it's again an environmental noise that goes all the way through, we don't really need to edit or cut anything, except maybe for this one larger click. Now I'm going to show you a very cool trick here, and this is why I have waveform scaling switched on. We go into menu again, and you go down and you can see waveform scaling. I have it turned on. I have it turned on for this very reason. What we can do here, and this is so clever, we can make a selection. Let's make a selection on just that little tiny bit. In fact, we can zoom so far in here, it's unreal. Now we've got that selection. If right in the middle here, you'll see it's divided. But if I pinch in the middle, watch what happens to this selection. I'm pinching now. Oh, sorry, I need to select that again. Where are we going? Let me get off this a sec. I'm going to select here. If I pinch in the middle, see what happens? We can increase or decrease the volume per selection by pinching and, pinching and dragging in the screen. The cool thing is here, I can do it. Oh, come on. I can do it either I can do it left or right independently, which is just absolutely awesome. So let's just take that back to around where it was there. And I'm going to go in a bit closer. I'm going to have this go just right. So we're back. My mistake was I had particle mode enabled. Okay, so that's something else to look out for. Don't be pressing the wrong things. Right now, what did I say? This one, this section here, it's going to expand this now. This section here, I'm going to use waveform scaling just to decrease it a tiny bit like that. We won't really notice it decreasing, so because it's such a small selection. So double tap on that to get rid of it. Let's bring it back in. And again, I think with this, I think I can just even a little bit more like that. Done. Okay. So just let's see. Let's bring this back in. There we go. Just, I think, normalize. Okay. So I'll just save that as it is because I don't really need to do much more to it. But like I said, we could add EQ, etc., etc. But you know, we don't need to. So I'm going to click on Media Bus. Remember to use my mouse. Click on Media Bay, Tuesday, July 23rd. And I'm going to cut this because I know there's another one of these which is slightly better. So I'm going to call this, where are we? Where's me save? I'm going to call this onions frying. One. Save. Done. Go back to our folder here, and I'm going to delete this. So delete. Yes. And put this one in. Like, what's this? This might be anything at all, but it might be summer. Right, okay, so this is a good one. We're going to cut out. See, there's some mistakes, obviously. So first of all, we'll start by just deleting with the clipboard. We'll just cut out these. This is basically me moving, you know, it's because field recorders are sensitive. So we need to get rid of everything that we don't need. Like, for instance, that. We can delete that and all. Clipboard, cut. And this last little section here, we definitely don't need. I will just cut that as well. Clipboard cut. And first of all, just, I'm going to loop the whole thing. I'm going to go to operation and normalize. Again, I'll normalize to -3 dB, see what's going on with the sample. So that was rain and wind ambience. So I'm going to leave it at that, just for, again, for speed. But I don't really think I'd do a lot more with that anyway, because it is what it is. It's just an environmental sample. It just needed to be louder. And this is a good thing when you're field recording. Don't be trying to get your maximum. don't try and get your level meters on your field recorder to get close to, you know, you can always do this in post editing. Like here now, you can make them louder. You can take noise out and stuff, which I'm going to show you some very cool stuff in just a minute. So let's do this. Let's go into the folder where we want to save that. I'm just going to call it wind and rain, wind and whoops, rain, and we'll just save it at that. Done deal. And it should be, oh, hang on a minute, have I saved it? No. Here's a cool thing. Select this, hit move, that's this here, hit move, navigate to the destination and hit move again. Right, because I put it in the wrong folder, I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit move. And what it does now is put our wind and rain here into the correct folder without us having to do all this messing around again. And you'll notice that it's just out of this one now. So again, we can just not delete that one. We can delete this one, click yes, and now move on to our next one. Here's an example of editing stuff. Right, let's see. No, not this one. I'm going to go to a different one. Hang on a minute. I want to do something. I want to show you something that requires kind of editing, if you like. So let's look at this. Now that's another environmental. Let's look at this one. Let me just listen. That's another rain one. What's that, number 5, number 6 here? Right, so now this one, listen. This is a can of beer being popped and poured in, but there was 2 recordings made for this one and another mono one with a contact mic. What we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to start to edit this, because this first part here, if you listen, it's not too bad, actually. It's not as bad as I thought, so I'm going to keep that. But I had noise reduction set too high a threshold on the zoom, so now when I don't put noise reduction on the zoom, I leave it and do it in neon. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to edit this. All this here is waste, but it's noise. Listen, we don't want that noise. What we're going to do is we're going to hit loop, so it's looping it all. Okay, it's quite, we're going to bring the volume of this part up as well, and probably reduce the volume of this section, so we can get some sort of normalization going on. But first of all, we're going to go to Clipboard. I'm going to take Media Bay down so you can see it better. Operation, apply effect, external AUV3 plugin, load plugin, and scroll down till you find the plugin you want. In my case, I want to load in Brusfri, which I know is just here. So Brusfri is the ultimate noise reduction app. We can resize these, which is really, really cool. And we can go here and move it out the way. Now, this is how Brusfri works. We hit preview. Brusfri works by listening to audio that's got nothing in it, but it's noisy, right? Let me take preview off. It's very hard to hear, but there's noise there, and we don't want that noise, but we can always do this again. So I'm going to hit preview. I'm going to play it from, say, here, and what I'm going to do, as soon as I start playing, I'm going to hit the little ear icon. For a few seconds, and now I'm going to go from here, actually. Right. And now, because we've got the whole thing selected, it will have applied Brusfri to the whole thing, which is great. Now what we need to do is press apply, and it will apply the effect. And we can close this now, it's done with. And if we go back now, we can continue editing. Now, we only need this to about there. So what we're going to do is drag our handle in here and just select crop, and that will just give us this file. We definitely don't need this beginning bit here, so I'm just going to cut that. So clipboard, cut, cut. And now we've got this. Sorry, let's just select all. So here is where we want this to be. I want this to be louder. So I'm just going to use the waveform scaling, you see. I'm just bringing up the volume of this now. In fact, I think we could probably extend this range a little bit. Yeah. So now our actual water part's going to be great. So again, let's just deselect the loop. In fact, let's just loop it all, see what happens. So there was some extra there, but what we can do to get away from this is let's go to there. Let's hit crop. Let's select this end bit here and apply a fade. Let's apply a ease out, and we'll just select all to loop and see what happens with this. Okay, that's good. That's good enough, except that maybe there's just too much going on here. So maybe we could just go, okay, let's go here. Let's go here, there, like that. Make sure our selection is selected, and we're going to cut that as well. So clipboard, cut, and that's going to be now closer. Now we can do this wherever we like, of course. If we move our entire thing here, in fact, we could probably just, let's expand this a little bit. So we've got a bit more control. We don't really need that, do we? Because it's a, I mean, someone might want to use this as a percussive sample. You don't know. So let's, again, loop the entire thing. Let's bring it back into focus so we can see. Oh, another thing is, by the way, if you long hold Media Bay, sorry, I did that too quick. Let's expand this, right? Instead of having to kind of drag and drop it back into focus, if you just want to refocus the entire thing, just long hold Media Bay up here and it will pop that back for you. Also, if we long hold menu, you'll get this drop down and you'll see, let's focus right in on this. You'll see you can focus in, and then you can also use this to drag around the points in your sample. So you can do real, and let's do this again now, focus on the whole thing. Let's close that little thing at the top. And now we've got, this is our sample. So this, let's see. If we wanted to make the whole thing a little bit louder, okay, this is the thing that's going to prevent us from doing that. So let's just select that section there. Okay, let's expand it a little bit. And let's just use our waveform scaling to bring that back a little bit. Okay, let's double tap on this. Let's go back, listen to the sample. I'm just gonna, hang on a second. So let's go back now, and what we're going to do is, oh, look at, why is it still there like that? I want it smaller than this. Hang on a sec. Can I not apply my waveform scaling? Oh no, hang on. Doing it there as well. I want to do that. I'll bring that down a little bit. Okay. Loop that, there you go. That's done. Now I can afford to actually bring up the entire operation and normalize it again to say minus 2 dB, better. And now we can do this. And again, the mistake I made here is this end bit fades out too quickly. So we're going to go in along here. And we get close to where we need to do the edit, which should be about here, I guess. And then we can just bring this up a little bit to suit. And that looks about perfect. So let's just loop it all and bring it back into focus. And I'll just hit Media Bay just in case I'm not fully in. There we go. Back. You know what I mean, right? So there you go. That's good. So I'm going to name this now. So going into Media Bay, and let me see. Choose the folder, which is the July 23 one. Going to save ring pull and pour. Can't really find it amusing. What's the matter?
Nothing, just think it's funny.
What is?
Ring, pull and pour.
Ring, pull and pour.
I'm a child.
Right, okay. So let's do another one, shall we? Okay, so we'll go back to our samples here. Now, we skipped a few of these, so I'm going to have to go back later and suss out which ones they were. Was this it here? That's more rain. This one. Yeah, I can delete this one. This is number 6, which is the ring pull one we've just edited. So we get rid of that. Delete, yes. I just want to, before we finish, we've gone on long enough, and you're kind of getting the idea, right? As this is how I'm editing the environmentals, well, just our field recordings, mine and Joe's field recordings. You see here it says TR8 track A. The Zoom H8 has 8. It's basically eight inputs, but it's more than that. You can have attachments and stuff. There's a stereo one at the top, which is why this says mic 1 and 2. So these were recorded just via the top microphone, you know, the thing that plugs in. And then track A, you can plug microphones into the side. Now these were all done. All these track A's were a contact microphone. Okay, now you can blend in the contact microphone and the XY recorded microphones and any other mic that's plugged into it, because what happens is it creates, inside a project, it creates folders, and in each folder it can have up to all these different multi-track recordings that you've made. So if we have a listen to this one here, you'll see, which I've just done, you'll see it's mono for the start off. Now this was a contact microphone attached to a DAW. We don't need to do a great deal to this, but I am going to cut that part there, and I'm going to cut this. I'm not going to see what this little bit does in the middle actually, because I'm not sure what it is. But if we have what we'll do is we'll normalize it to -3 dB. Let's go into these 3 little dots, choose operation, normalize, -3 dB. So don't forget, this was a contact microphone attached to a handle of a door, and it's raining outside. It gives a completely different tone. It's really cool. So those there, in fact, that whole section, to be fair, could probably just go. Just edit that. Right, okay, it's better. Let's again loop the whole thing. Let's just focus by touching on Media Bay. Yeah, that's loads better. So now, I reckon we could even afford to actually normalize this up to -2. I don't like going much further than -2, because the people who end up with these recordings, or for when I use them for synth programming and stuff, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this into our July 23 and call this contact handle. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you call them. You can always just listen to them anyway. Contact handle rain, but at least this gives you an idea of what it could be. So that was a contact mic on a rain. Now I'm going to show you something else before we go as well, before I play you a few samples or whatever. Let's go back to our folder here, what we're using. So this was, we used, I think this was this first one, wasn't it? Yeah. So we can get rid of that now, delete junk. This one, let's listen. I'm not sure what this is. Actually, there is a really good one, so I'm going to find that for you. This one, right? So this was the contact mic on the handle again, but rattling the keys that were plugged into that handle. Okay, so if we want to get the most out of this, first of all, we need to maybe eliminate some of these really high peaks here. So I'm just going to basically cut this. So clipboard cut, and go to, again, this end one here. I'm going to go clipboard cut, and last but not least, this one here. Sorry guys, hang on, there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit, shall we? Because you can get, I mean, you can get real close with this. Proper close. And right, clipboard cut, and let's go with our Media Bay trick of just focusing in on everything again. Let's loop it all. And I think this, obviously for obvious reasons, we can just get rid of this as well to about there. And for this one, we can just crop it, because we'll be end up with what we've got. So these three little, if your Media Bay is closed, these other options appear. So let's just hit crop. Okay, brilliant. Let's listen. Okay, so let's definitely now we don't need, because the contact mic is very specific in what it picks up. It doesn't really pick up any noise, so there's no need to use Brusfri on that. Let's see, what we're going to do for this is, I think, normalize this now up to -2. That's better. And we're also, this is another cool trick. You can take a mono file, right, and convert it to a stereo file. This is marvelous. It's a marvelous thing, right? And in fact, I'm going to show you another trick as well. What we're going to do is we'll apply, just for fun, we'll apply some reverb to this. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do 2 of these. What we'll do is go to Media Bay and go to our folder, which is July 23. These are all things you can do, right? So I'm going to go save, and I'm going to call this contact key dry. I know some people probably find this video mind-bogglingly boring, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply some reverb to this. Okay, now because I want the reverb tail to carry on past this, what it will happen is, don't forget it, is it'll work on the length of the sample. So I need to add more to this sample. So if I go to the end of the sample here, can't go any further, so I can go to the end here, right, which is the, let me just select it all. Right, we're at the end of the sample. Place the playhead at the end of the sample, right? Go to operation and put insert space. Now I'm going to insert, let's see, that would be, I'm going to insert 32 beats. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to insert more just in case. And this is cool because you can insert as much stuff as you like, right? And you can always edit later. So just to be on the safe side with my reverb tail, right, I've probably got enough now. You'll see that now if we hit loop and I hit my media bay, I've got all this extra stuff now I can play with. So I'm going to hit loop again just to select it all. And then I'm going to close the media bay so I can access operation quicker. Operation, apply effect. I'm going to go to AUV3 plugins. And let's go with load plugin, and let us find Eventide. Here we go. I'm going to apply Eventide Black Hole. Now, this is cool. Preview, so we can just hear what's going on. Let me just close this down a bit. So if we preview this now, let's go back to the beginning. God, that sounds like some dungeon rattling key thing, doesn't it? Let's increase the size and the depth of the mod. But hear this? If we didn't have this extra space, right? In fact, we don't need that much, obviously, like I said. So we can basically crop that. If we didn't have this extra space, Black Hole wouldn't be, you wouldn't have that reverb tail. You wouldn't be able to do it. I tried the other day, something went horribly wrong, and I realized it was because I hadn't put any extra space in. And the same goes for anyway. You can insert space at the beginning, or if you're importing multiple loops or you're drag and dropping appending files, insert some space so you've got something to work with, you know. Right, we've done that. Let's let's maybe make a couple of more adjustments to it. Now you can have, by the way, you can have up to three inserts on a sample. All right, let's just now hit apply, and you'll see now our effect tail is there correctly. So again, I don't need. Let's hear what's going on. %. There, so around 17. We can now just use our clipboard and just cut that excess off at the end, whole loop, go back to the beginning. You don't have to have loop switched on, by the way, and you don't have to have this area selected. It just makes life easier, I found. I will do a video for slice mode as well, because slice mode is very cool. Okay. So now I think we could definitely get away with, again, oh, you can reverse it as well. By the way, you can reverse your stuff. It's all cool. It's all cool stuff, but, you know, you wouldn't want to reverse this. Let's go to, let's undo that. I'm going to normalize this. 2 minus 2 again. Give us a little bit more. And I'm going to go to Media Bay, select where I want to save it. Well, I want to save it here. It's fine. I'm just editing one that's already here. So I'm just going to save, and I'm going to call this key, contact key, big reverb. Big reverb, Joe. Big reverb. Big reverb. Big reverb. Big. Right. Okay. So there you go. That's converting a mono file into a stereo file. And of course, doing that allows you to do other cool stuff if you want to get clever with samples. I don't think they're on here now, but some of the ones I did the other day, I converted a mono file into a stereo file, then started lowering the volume on one part, increasing it on another, and I had this kind of stereo thing going on. But you, like I said, you can do anything you like. I will do particle. That's something different. Neon does so much more. It does clip launching and all sorts of cool stuff. But for me, editing the samples, this thing is absolutely just marvelous, right? So far, I'm going to quickly go back to my folder here. I've done my key rattly thing, haven't I? Which I think was originally this. Yeah, so I can get rid of that. See, normally I'd do these in series, so I keep it up. I think what's this one? We didn't do any of the others, did we? No. That's Very Light Rain. Number 5 is right. This one, I won't edit it now, but this one, do you remember the ring pull fizzy thing we did? Well, this is a contact mic on the glass. So just about picks up the ring pull, and this is what it sounds like on the glass. So it's slightly different. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just normalize this section for, I won't do any editing on this right now, but I'll normalize this section for you so you can hear what the contact mic sounded like on the actual glass. So that's the ring pull. This is all on. The contact mic then gives a different flavor to the actual thing, but I'm not going to do the edit on them now, and I know that I've got some more of these to edit anyway. Guys, that's how you do it. I won't edit them now, but there's so much more stuff we can do. Like I said, well, I showed you the move and stuff like that. You can share. Don't need to really worry too much about this. One of the cool things is I'll play you some of these samples in July 23. One of the cool things also is it works the other way around, your drag and drop. So say, for instance, our files app is open. I think I've got 2 instances of this now. Have I? Doesn't matter. If we went back to say audio share, we could take this entire, in fact, we don't even need to be on there. If we look at this, I can take this entire folder, and I'm not finished with it yet, so I'm not gonna, but I can take the entire folder and drag that into audio share just by going like that and dropping it there where it says little plus. So it's absolutely awesome. And this is why it's so good for editing. I don't even have to take this into audio share first. I don't have to take the files from the H8 onto the iPad first. I can put them directly into Neon, and then I can delete them off the H8 if I don't need them. And that is very, very cool. Right, guys, if you're watching this via Premiere, thank you very much. You've done well by sticking around. I know things like this can be boring, but if you're interested in doing some field recording or getting into it, or even getting just what I think is just the best audio editor for the iPad, it's just outstanding. Will you stop rattling?
I'm sorry, but you do go on. I'm hungry.
There's going to be slappings.
Oh, yeah, go on then. I'm ready.
Honest, it's like listening to a field recording behind your head.
Well, get your tool out.
Excuse me. Right, okay, look, oh, Brusfri, you mean Brusfri.
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that, doesn't work. Right, okay, I'm going to play some of these for you if you're still here. Guys, bless you all. If you're watching on a Premiere, bless you all. Thank you so much. Please strike the like, consider becoming a patron, subscribe if you're not subscribed to help. Super chat, super stickers, it really, really helps. I'm not kidding. Oh. Right, I'm going to play some of the ones. Oh, another thing as well, we can swipe up and make the media, we can make the media bay on our audio pool full size here, like that. Don't know what I've done here. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. You can search, and it will even dig into the folders and search as well. Right, so let's play some of these, shall we? In fact, I'll just drag that back down. So we don't need to load them in, although we can if we want to. We can load them in, obviously, you can move them there as well. You can load them in for further editing. But these are edited ones, and you'll also hear some of the ones that we've just edited. So let's play this one, shall we? This was a clay lid. You know, one of them, it's chimney, isn't it, Joe?
Yes,
Cool.
yeah.
One of those big clay pot chimeneas, and it's in the garden here. So now all the editing has been done on these, and these will end up going over to Patreon. This one is closing the window, so I don't need to, I just need to press it. Here's our contact handle rain. I think that's crunchy plastic. In fact, I think somewhere, yeah, Joe's got one. It's a packet of tea cakes, curtains, geese landing. This is an outdoor one now. This is gig bag zip. It's from a gig bag for the bass guitar. The first part of this just sounds like a fart. Small minds, eh? Right outside ambience. I think that's a really good one. This one, called Sepulchre, is the lid from the chimney, and I just dropped it and applied black hole. So I think it's really cool. Could be ancient Egyptian tomb. Walking on gravel outside. And this one, it's not, I've called it Walking on Rice because that's what it sounded like to me when I edited it, Walking on Rice, but it's actually just walking on grass, but with loads of compression. Wind and rain. And there you go. So they're the ones I've still got to do, and I'll add them to the July 23 folder. There you go. There is, how do I pull this down again? There is Neon Audio Editor. It's just incredible. I love it so much. I really do. I think it's just, absolutely awesome. And probably, I mean, I haven't covered half the things. There's tons and tons of stuff you can do with it. You can time stretch. You can have it apply ducking if you're in AUM and like audio coming in. The particle engine is cool. We'll get into that. But for, like I said, at the moment, I'm using it purely for editing samples, and it just does absolutely everything. You can also, of course, drag another file in and stick it there in front of it, but you need to go in here if you want to do that and go down to Append Recordings and switch that on like this. And then you've also got another one here, which is drag and drop mode replace or drop in place, which allows you to also drop files, extra files in there. And then we can merge them together and stuff. But like I said, again, we've already gone on for nearly an hour. So probably most people have, I don't know, fell asleep now. Yeah, exactly. Right. Anyway, brilliant. Top job. Cool beans. Thanks, gang. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.